Good afternoon, honorable judges and esteemed committee. Before I would do my speech, I would like to show you my case building paper. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, honorable judges and esteemed committee. My name is Abyan Ammar. I am from SMA Indonesian Creative School, Pekanbaru. And today, I will do my speech as the first speaker of the opposition team who opposes the motion, this House prefer a world where welfare programs are done through direct cash transfer as opposed to food and or basic necessities handout. We oppose this because it creates a larger problem for the community. But before I highlight these problems, I would like to define what is welfare program. Welfare program is a social support system run by the government to support and help the low-income civilians who are under the line of poverty. Through this welfare program, it is meant as a long-term solution into where we provide these necessities so they could last longer, because these handouts are meant to get them back on their feet so they can provide for their family and contribute to society itself. And now, why is direct cash transfer creates larger problems than basic necessity handouts? Well, there are 3 main problems that I highlighted in these problems. First, money can still be corrupted before the transfer itself. The money they can give is not really and possibly not transparent. They could say that they are providing money, but instead it comes to the amount of 100,000, 50,000, because they thought they planned it to be around 1 million, and it turns out the ones that arrive to these low-income families, it turned into a lower amount. This means it creates a larger possible chance for corruption rather than food or basic necessities. Second, money can still be misused by the locals who are low income. They could misuse the money to either buy drugs or to gamble. These create problems in which they use the money not to buy their basic necessities like food, frying oil, medicine, or even flour. It creates a much more problem for these people because they won't even last a week or even a month, which is bad for what welfare program is meant for. The third would be not all Indonesians have access to banks or digital mobile bankings to store these money, because low income or the ones who are in the line of poverty are struggling to set up a bank account because they are not fit for the criteria for a bank account itself, because they might be living in a remote area where banks are very far away, or they have no phones at all because of low income. This creates a huge problem and creates more chances of thievery, because with money and you're handing it out to these low income families, and if the ones that does not get their fair share, they steal it from the ones who did get the direct cash transfer. This ultimately creates bigger problems rather than food or basic necessity handouts, which is why we made a solution that first would be work with the locals to provide the goods, such as rice or basic flours. This ultimately helps the locals to work, and they get paid by the government who are working with them to create these goods so they can share it with the ones who haven't gotten their fair share of the goods, which is a lot bit more beneficial than direct cash transfer. Because with locals working, they are also doing what welfare programs are meant to be, and that is as a long-term solution for low-income families, as the ones who are struggling to make ends meet. And that is what welfare programs are made. It is as a long-term solution for low-income families. And with the locals working, it creates job opportunities better than direct cash transfer. Second point would be to increase the budget. By increasing the budget, we increase the amount of handouts that we are going to give. And with these increased budget, we give them a lot more necessities that could last them around 1 to 2 months or even more. And as they are lasting these months, they are able to go back up on their feet because they are well fed through these basic necessities and food that are being handed out instead of direct cash. They have the energy to work and make ends meet to create or to get money, because doing direct cash transfer in welfare programs would create a dependency on government issued money, which is not the main solution of welfare program. As I said, welfare programs are long-term solution where low-income families can last months to make their own ends meet, so they're not really dependent on government money or government handouts, because when these handouts run out, they can last 1 month for their own paycheck. They could buy their own necessities because they're not getting money directly where they have the chance to misuse it, but they have the required needs to get them themselves instead of depending on the government. And which is why with traditional handouts, it gives a long-term solution for low-income families who are struggling, because by what I mean by long-term solution is that when they receive these handouts and they consume it, they are getting energy and getting productivity from these handouts, because these handouts are food and it gives energy for them to be more productive in their work, so they can get their paycheck and they can buy their own food or their own basic necessities themselves, which is why welfare programs are a long-term solution. That is all. Thank you very much.